Hello, welcome guys to today's webinar, which is on build the perfect quote with customizable table. All right, so my name is Matthew. All right, and I'm basically a customer success manager working in Prospect, handling APAC region. So if you guys got any question, please feel free to reach out to me or Roxas. Both of us basically handling APAC region, and we're working on the same product. So if you guys don't know who to reach out to regarding certain issues or concern, or let's say you feel like you're not fully you're not utilizing the system, just reach out to us, right? Don't be shy. All right, so let me turn off my camera now so that we can focus on today's topic. All right, so for today's agenda, I'll be taking you through step by step how you can design your quote table styling. So some of you might have noticed we released a new type of styling, and that's the HTML quote styling, right? So previously it's only revolving Word document, but right now there's a thing called HTML quote styling, right? And that's for your quote table that can be used within your document as well as email. So document and email, right? So it's really nice. We got some built-in default style. You can do a little preview of them, and you can also use our new toolbar button to quickly insert them into emails, whether that's true, that's in a template or the email directly. All right, so I'll be basically showing you a demo later and taking you through it. All right, so right. If we have a look at the key takeaway though, I think the really important key takeaway for today's webinar is how you can make sure your style is consistent and it's professional, eye-catching, and more importantly here is something that just reflects the brand. All right. So something that reflects the brand is very important, okay? And I think it's really important that all of the communication you send out is branded to a professional standard and is consistent, right? So not just to have a similar styling, but also just to make it a bit eye-catching because it develops your brand identity. The word here is brand identity because there's hundreds and thousands of companies out there. So how can people notice you, all right? It's through your brand identity, all right? So when customer are getting these quotes, they know instantly it's from your brand because they can just tell from the styling and the colors, right? So it's really important to have to have the quote properly configured, which is what we're going to be talking through today. And if you had it configured many years ago or you're happy with it, it's always worth doing, a review every now and then, just to make sure that isn't just the little things that you can be doing to improve. So yeah, and finally, just making sure you're happy and that you can send in confident so that you know that you're configuring in the quote table styling is actually what you're going to put in the email. And when your user or your salespeople or your admin is sending it out, make sure that your workflow is really streamlined so that yeah, let me get right into the demo. Okay, so let me go into the CRM. So today, this webinar is going to be very short because we're only going to revolve around three things, right? Just remember three things, and all of these are in this system settings. What is these three things? You go to this system settings, go to emails and documents. The three things will be document templates, quote tables, and quote table styles. All right, so quote tables, this one, is actually where you're able to create the table itself, the quote table itself. So this is saying what fields are within the table. Do you want images and stuff like that? So, and below it, this quote table styling is where you actually configure the styling, with the colors with it. Right, so traditionally, you might notice that we use Word styling. So you create a Word document, edit the table with all the styling you want, and you kind of save that style and add it to a quote table. Well, you can still do that, to be honest. But we also got this amazing feature with this HTML coding that later on I'm going to show you. All right. It's just that the previous, Word document styling doesn't work in email. All right. It's only for document, whereas HTML works for both. Right. So it's simpler, it's much easier to understand, and it's a lot quicker to use. Right. So let me go into it. Let me click to configure. As you can see, ta-da! All right, you notice that's pretty much just the default ones, like they already have these are all the default style. However, all this default style already have your branding color in it. All right. So how do you find and locate your branding colors? Just go to still in the system setting, just type the word branding. All right. Branding. And when you go to bottom, this is your branding color, which is going to show you your primary color and your accent color. So in this demo account, in this testing account, I have a very interesting primary color and an accent color, which I'm going to play around with later when creating the quote styling. All right. So remember to give your branding a review and make sure that you're happy with them, because everything that we're going to do is going to revolve around this branding color, right? So let's get out from this and go back to here, and let's go back to quote table style. Okay, so as you can see, these are all the default table style that we have. I created one, just to play around with. So what you want to do is, if you want to create from scratch, you can just click this top right button here. Okay, so what does based on means? So for example, all right, let's say you have a sales team and you have quotes that you want to send that is similar yet different. Okay, so for instance, I want to base on of Medi webinar, which is this one, right? Which is, I'm so sorry, which is this one, right? I want it to be similar yet different. I want to make some minor changes. You can just base on of that and you just make some changes. For example, you see this, I can just make changes here. But if I do not want to and want to create from scratch, I can show you right now, right? So let me put it Medi webinar 2, for instance, all right? So as you can see, just play around with it. Applying formatting, there's a few things. Whole table, a header row, header column, even row, odd, group, header row. So what whole table means is this whole thing. So if I want to fill it with my primary color, I can just play around with it. Ta-da, the whole thing become this color, but obviously I do want to do that, right? So maybe first off, I want to think, I want it to be professional, yet I want it to show my primary color. Where can I put this dark color on? Probably here. So how do I do that? I just go to header row and I fill it with my primary colors. However, I can't see the wordings, correct? So I just go here, all right, and I just apply it and make it into white color. Okay, so yes, as white as Daisy. All right, so I can also play around with the fonts if I want to. So for instance, I might want my font to be Comic Sans, just for fun. And now what I want to proceed next is I want to put my accent color into it. So I'm thinking I want to put it here on the skew. So I just go to header columns and I put accent color. There you go. And right now, maybe I want, my thing to be a bit more eye-catchy. So for my header columns, I maybe want to use Times News Roman. So I get, those people with OCD, they'll be like, I remember these people. They send me quotes with this, different fonts. And I mean, getting attention is what we need, right? So yeah, and also there is something called borders, but for borders, because it applies to the whole tables, you go to whole tables and borders, all right? So you can put all, which is like this, or you can just put outer, all right? You can put inner or horizontal, just play around with it, all right? So probably I want to use all. I can also choose whether it's going to be dotted or it's going to be dash, right? So of course, I just want to make it very simple, right? So you can also play around with this step, then also the wordings, there's font size, whether you want to make it bold, italic, or underline it, it's up to you. So basically, this is what I want to create, right? So this is my new quote table style that I might want to launch on my company anniversary. So for this whole entire month, I'm going to use this specific quote to send it out to people or for my marketing campaign. Either that or maybe I just went through rebranding. All right, so this is gonna be my new quote table style moving forward, so that 1 or 2 years down the line, when customer open the email and they saw this funny looking quote table style, they remember, it's from That's My Jam. Right, so let me get create now. Okay, so once you create it, it's gonna be here. All right, it's gonna be here. Okay, so since I created that, you see, I can find it based on. All right, so After quote table style, the next place that we will go is quote table. Remember, today's topic is basically based on document template, quote table, and quote table styles. Right now, I'm going to quote table, where here is gonna allow me to know, okay, when I'm sending a quote, which quote tables am I going to use? All right. So for example, so the description here is very important. Okay. So today I'm just going to show you, okay, I'm going to tell my salespeople when they send this quote, it's going to be based on quote table web. Okay. So I just click this. Okay, I click this. So as you can see, what does this column means? This column means this is how the quote's gonna look like. Are there any product image? You know, are there any what is it gonna display? Like quantity, price, description, product SKU. Basically, that's all about it. All right. So previously, it's basically what we use is word style, but now HTML code make things so much easier. So what I want to use is the one that I just created, which is this Maddie's webinar 2. Right, let me click save. Ta-da! So it's gonna pop in here. All right, so now I have this quote table web, right? Remember, I make a changes which is in this quote table web. How, when I send an email, I want that email to include this quote table. It's very simple. Right now, the final step is basically go to your document template, all right? So in general situations, what I like to do is I will have email already draft in the system, so I don't need to keep like typing the same thing over and over again. And that email will be basic email quote, which is this one. So if I click in here, okay, there's a few things that you need to pay attention. The first is where are you going to merge this data from? Because it's going to be included with quote, so this is very important. Here need to show quote, and after that, let me just press edit. Okay. So previously, when we have using Word document, there's a lot of these things that you need to type in. And if you miss out, it's gonna, screw up the whole table and it's gonna make a mess. So now with HTML quote styling, it's gonna be very simple. So first, you just click this, insert table, and just now I make changes in this quote table web. Am I correct? So I just click this, all right, click this, and I just click save. All right. Ta-da! It's gonna make some changes. Let me go to show you a real life example. Let me go to sales. Let me go one of the quotes. All right. Let's say I want to go to this TAG. Okay, just for fun. Okay, now when I'm sending a quotation, so they bought blueberry, strawberry jam, chili jam, straight up strawberry. So I go to quotation. I click this send. All right. As you can see, select a template. Mine is basic email quote. Now you can see, ta-da! So this is what's included. See? So this is the table quote style that I just create in this webinar. And right now, it already appear in my email template. All right. So honestly speaking, you can just play around with this. Okay. For example, let me go back to, system settings. Let me go back and play around again. Right. Let me show you this quote table. So just now, when you in the document, it appeared this one is because in here, I click HTML quote, correct? But just now you saw there's 4 options is because not only this one, but also this one is in HTML quote. So right now, imagine, all right, so right now, imagine if I put this quote table into a word style, all right, if I put it into word style, it is not going to appear anymore. All right, so you see, if I go back into email document template here, it is not going to appear simply because it is not HTML. See, it's not HTML, so it's not going to pop up. All right. So it's very important to always ensure that in this quote table, this one is always in HTML, right? With the design that you want. Okay. So yeah, honestly speaking, that's about it for today. It's very simple. So first of all, always ensure that you have your branding colors fixed, right? So what is your primary color? What is your accent color? All right, because you want it to be very consistent, okay? Then next is basically where you go and create this styling in this quote table style. So just play around with it. All right, like find a way to make it consistent. You can use like I'm just playing around with the colors. You see this one, this one. So make it consistent, right? So how do you want it? Oh, revolving around primary accent color, basically. All right, you see, if I put all, you see the accent color is gonna be very funny. So always play around with it to create the one that you want. And then after that is basically after you create this is to go to quote table to put the particular thing that you want into here. Okay. Then after that, it's basically going to document template, right? Document template and to include what you just did. Right, so as you can see, I already made that one into HTML again, so it's gonna pop up again. See, quote table. So I can just do some testing for you to see. You see, for all this, I can also include into it. It's gonna be very funny, but wait, give me a second. All right, I'm just doing for science, So if I include all this, so in my email, it's gonna show everything literally. All right. I mean, you can do this for the sake of science and for the sake that, I want to see which one suit best. So yeah, okay, let me go to sales, let me go to quote. Okay, see when I send and this basic email quote, you're gonna see all four different type of quotes. You can see, right? So yeah, see, you got this, you got this, you got this. So yeah. Oh, the last one is this, actually, this one, because that's the total. So you see the total colors here. Okay, so I think that's it for today's webinar. All right, let me go back. All right, let me present. All right, so yeah, basically remember, right, today's key takeaway is basically quotes that reflect your brand and keep the style very consistent so that over time people will know, oh, I received this very funny looking quote. It's basically from That's My Jam, because that's their style, and always preview it and send in with confidence. And that will be all for today's webinar. All right, Q&A. Can you format column discounts so it only show when there is discount? Yes, but that would be a bit more different. All right, so that one is basically not in today's topic. Later on, you can send an email to me so that I can guide you through it. But basically, whatever that you want to show is basically in here. Give me a second. You go to system settings. What you want to show in that quote will be in quote tables here. All right. Let me think. This one, configure columns. So if you see, you can add columns. So like, for example, I want to add discount. So I can just click this and it will pop in here. All right. So just play around with it. See, discount is going to be here. And you can also remove, for example, I don't want it to show quantity. I'll just click this. All right. So yeah, you can. All right, so any other questions? If there is none, then I think that will be all for today. My name is Matthew, so feel free to reach out if you got any question. Don't be shy, right? I don't bite. All right, so yeah, thank you guys, and have a nice day. Bye bye.